I am the byproduct of my parents' extramarital affair. Both of them had spouses at the time. My birth mother got pregnant and had to tell her husband as he was overseas when I was conceived, so there was no way I was his. A few months after I was born, they decided not to divorce. I was given to my grandparents on my mother's side to raise, with my birth father secretly paying child support without his wife's knowledge. Both my parents had other children. My dad's side knows nothing about me, but my siblings on my mom's side were told that I am adopted by my grandparents. Recently I decided that I wanted to know more about my dad's family, and I sent a friend's request to one of my siblings and my dad so I could get to know him. Well, he freaked out and contacted my birth mom, and they asked to speak to me over Skype. They both told me that they couldn't risk staying in contact with me and told me that they were going no contact and to please respect it and move on with my life. Well, I did pretty much the opposite. I contacted my dad's wife and shared screenshots of our conversations and told her everything. She is now divorcing him, while on my mother's side, I told both my siblings, who then went on to tell extended family including her husband's side, so now they are separated and my siblings hate my mother. Currently my siblings on both sides' lives have been upturned, and after the satisfaction has worn off I feel like I unnecessarily hurt them through my parents. Am I the idiot for ruining my parents' marriages? Not the idiot, your parents are ducking selfish. So many other options for them instead of just pretending like you don't exist. If you don't want your spouse to find out you cheated, how about not ducking cheating? All you wanted was a little contact with family. They rejected you. Well, they don't get to choose whether your half-sisters and brothers want to know you or not. Maybe sharing screenshots was not the right way to go, but honestly, if you keep such a huge secret from your spouse, you deserve to get found out eventually. You're not the idiot here. Your parents couldn't have expected to hide a living, breathing human being forever. This is their lie and their problem. You were born into inauspicious circumstances, but you didn't choose who your parents were. You don't deserve to live hidden away for the rest of your life. Try and be supportive of your siblings on both sides, but embrace being out in the open. Take this opportunity to learn about your relatives on a deeper level, while also respecting their boundaries when asked. Forget your parents, they were never worth knowing to begin with. Everyone's the idiot. Your parents for obvious reasons, and you for intentionally ruining someone's life for your own satisfaction. Did you have a reason for it? Sure. But being a vengeful idiot is still being a vengeful idiot. Note, I'm not saying that you're a bad person by any means. Most people, including myself, probably understand why you do what you did. But I do think you're a bit of an idiot for intentionally doing it. I got married last year. I wasn't sure I wanted my mom to speak due to our strained relationship. I ultimately let her, hoping she would just deliver the same fluff about gaining a son that she did at my sister's wedding. Of course, my sister told me only after the events of this post that she pre-approved that speech. Highlights. I'm happy bride found someone that's not into looks, because I don't know how she would have afforded plastic surgery otherwise. She has gone under the knife many times and has made comments about my weight and appearance since I was young. I hope groom is comfortable in a crappy apartment because bride can never afford better. I work an office job with a comfortable salary. My husband and I are in a small home by preference, not cost constraints. Good for groom for putting up with bride's gross medical issues. Betty wouldn't have been interested if she had been diagnosed before they got together. She then went on to describe gory, personal details of my chronic illness, diagnosed a year prior. Each time she paused to let a joke land, there was silence. My husband and wedding party stared at me, frozen, waiting for my cue on how to react. They stayed seated until her bit about how I am damaged goods, referring to a time when I was 19. I had a bad date and the guy harassed me for over a year after. It seriously impacted my mental health and I dropped out of college. It is painful to think or talk about. A groomsman yanked the microphone away. My husband pulled me out to the patio. The wedding party asked the band to start the music and brought us a round of drinks. The rest of my fabulous guests pretended the entire wedding party was not doing shots and passing joints on the other side of glass doors, and they took the initiative to get the party going. I got to enjoy the reception I had planned and paid for. I didn't see my mom once. I found out the next day that the groomsmen had not only stopped her speech, they made her leave. They didn't tell me because I would be too worried about the fallout to enjoy the party, and I had already declared that I would avoid her all night. I haven't heard the end of it since. My mom says I humiliated her. My family says that I should have just prepared myself because I know how she is. They say I was wrong to deprive a mother of her daughter's wedding. At first, I was certain that her leaving was justified. Now, I feel like I should have expected a speech and worn the wedding party early to grin and bear it. It's caused drama that could have been avoided if I just let my mom do her thing. I could have just stopped the speech but let her stay. On the other hand, if my husband's dad had delivered a similar speech, I would have dragged him out myself. So, I really don't know and come to strangers, ready to accept my judgment. Am I the idiot for letting my mom get kicked out of my wedding when she was just being herself? Not the idiot. Your mom suffered the consequences of her actions. Be an idiot and get kicked out. Attempt to humiliate and end up humiliated. It's pretty common. She should probably put on her big girl pants and grow up. Honestly, she doesn't sound like someone you should have a relationship with. She's abusive and actively aimed to humiliate you and bring up some major trauma for you on what is widely seen as the happiest day of your life. That's absolutely disgusting, and personally, I would ditch whoever did that to me until they went through some life-changing therapy. She doesn't add anything to your life. Not the idiot. Tell your family and your mother that if this is ever brought up again, you are leaving the conversation, and then do exactly that each time it happens. Just nope out and hang up the phone or leave the room. Your bridal party is amazing and handled that perfectly. If your mother wanted to enjoy her daughter's wedding, she should have behaved like a decent human being. If your family was so concerned with your mother enjoying the wedding, they should have stopped her themselves, because then maybe she could have stayed. Give all those people a big hug, they really saved the day. If she wanted to stay, she should have behaved like she was at her daughter's wedding and not a roast for her worst enemy. Trust the judgment of your groomsmen. They heard her speech and acted appropriately. Take this moment to find your mother's flying monkeys. Anyone who gives you hell goes on a list of those you know you can't trust. It sounds like your family wants you to apologize because they want to stop hearing about it. That doesn't make them or her behavior right. Time to embrace your new family. About 22 years ago, my dad had an affair and got his mistress pregnant. He confessed all to my mom, who responded, "Take care of your responsibility, but I never want to hear about this again." So my dad did just that. He paid child support and had a relationship with my brother, but spoke of it to no one except his attorney, his mother, and sister. He claims a lapse in judgment and has been faithful and committed to my mom since. 5 years ago, I ran into my aunt and Nana having lunch with a teenage boy. They seemed uneasy, but asked if I wanted to join them, and I really hit it off with Nicholas. He was cool as crap, and we had a lot in common, even though I was 22 and he was 16. I asked my Nana how they knew him, and she brushed me off. Later that day, my dad asked me to meet up and told me that Nicky was my half-brother and the whole story. All these years that we thought my dad was working out of town on business or on a guy's trip, he was usually with Nicky. At first I was really angry, but then I felt really bad for him and Nicky and told him I wanted to have a relationship with my brother. He said okay and seemed happy about it, but asked that I not tell my siblings or let my mom know because it would devastate her. I played along for a few years. I was at Nicky's graduation, took him on his senior trip backpacking in Europe, and helped him move into his college dorm. We're as close as if we grew up together. I recently got engaged, and in planning the wedding decided I wanted Nicky as a groomsman with my other brothers. I told my dad, and he agreed it was time to end the charade, and my mom would have to face it. So he told my mom, and my mom called me and begged me not to let the family secret out and how that was a hard time for her and she can't face my father's son. I felt bad, but I think that my brother is also innocent in this and that my mom needs to be an adult and face reality. So we told my siblings. There have been a lot of emotions over the past few months, but my siblings love Nicky and he's really happy to have brothers and sisters and fits right in. My dad seems relieved to have all his kids together and not to be keeping a secret. My mom spent the entire summer at our beach house and still seems to be in denial. Her sister, my aunt, says I'm an idiot because I should have stayed out of it. 2 of my 4 siblings think I'm an idiot for keeping the secret for so long. They think it's unfair that I got to make so many memories with Nicky and they didn't get to. One of them is around Nikki's age and is really bummed she didn't know she had a brother so closer to her age. I think they have lots of time to make memories with him now, and that I was in a tough place and made a hard decision, but that doesn't make me an idiot. No idiots here. Honestly, I think everyone involved did what they thought was best at any time they made the decisions they made. Given what it is, there was no way to navigate this without getting upset. I think you're siblings and you should just focus on the future and not worry too much about why things came to be the way they did. As for your mom, she is just going to have to learn how to deal. Nikki deserves to have a relationship with everyone else. It actually doesn't matter who the idiot is. It's a screwed up situation all the way around. But I think if you force your mom to face it, you'll probably irrevocably mess up your relationship with her. And I'm glad everyone is happy at your mother's expense. She was betrayed, hurt, and made to feel like the fool when your dad was freaking around. So everyone's closeness probably feels like a slap in the face. Kinda like we're happy, sorry if that hurts you, but oh well. Crap happens. By the way, your mom is probably suffering from depression. Please keep an eye on her. As a mother, let me tell you, no one on this earth can hurt you like your kids. Not the idiot, but I also don't think your mom is an idiot either. Nikki is totally innocent in this, but he's also a walking reminder of your dad's infidelity, and that has got to be insanely painful for your mom. My heart goes out to her. This is entirely between your parents, and it's really up to your dad to do what it takes to make this okay for your mom. He created this heartache for her, so he's responsible for mitigating it, but in a way that doesn't also harm his kids. My boyfriend and I have lived together for over a year and we had birth control failure that resulted in me getting pregnant just a few months into the relationship. The entire time I was pregnant I worked full-time and was getting put on bed rest quite a bit. He would not keep a job. He would not get along with management, they didn't like him, they were picking on him, they wanted him to work longer hours, or whatever excuse he could find to quit. He's also a chain smoker and always needing cigarettes, or being very angry and rude when he didn't have them. Well, my son was born early, and he needed to be in the newborn intensive care unit. I figured since my boyfriend didn't have a job, that he would stay at the hospital with me. 2.5 hours away from our house, he then announced he got a new job and I could stay with the baby, and he was going home. Our son was given a 50-50 chance to even come home. I was angry, but I let him go hoping he was going to straighten up. Fast forward and our son is home and on oxygen, and of course my boyfriend isn't working again, and I'm pulling doubles. I make enough with my paychecks to pay the bills, but I've been hiding my tip money in a wax candle burner. It's broken so it doesn't turn on. I've saved quite a bit because if I don't hide it, then he takes it to buy pack after pack of cigarettes. I know it's dishonest, but it's the only extra money I have. Well, he was messing around and hit the corner shelf where I keep the cash and it fell on the floor and money spilled out. He scolded me for hiding money from him and that he was suffering from nicotine withdrawal and that he couldn't believe how selfish I was and that I was a liar and all this other stuff. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot in the slightest, but the fact that you feel the need to hide money from your boyfriend to have an emergency fund or maybe cover living expenses even, not sure if you specified exactly, then that's a huge red flag. If you're with this guy solely because you have a child together, that's not a good enough reason, especially when he's already been so inattentive and unsympathetic to that child's needs, even in the most dire of circumstances. I'm so sorry you have a partner who is unwilling to put the needs of his family unit over his own addiction, and I hope you find real security and happiness soon. Not the idiot. He needs to grow the hell up and take care of you and his child. He is mooching, he is a deadbeat, and he will eventually attack you. I dated this exact kind of man for 3 years. He was not able to hold a job, pestered me for my tip money so he could buy alcohol and spend his time partying and freaking other girls. Get out with your baby, now. You're still early into the relationship. Don't make my mistakes. If your family is accepting religion over your current emotional abuse, they are not worth your bottom dollar. You are so strong for doing what you are doing. Don't ever give up and think about that baby before anyone else. They depend on you. At Rid, he's a deadweight and using you. You're already managing with bills alone. No doubt it's difficult, but it will be easier without him 100%. If you don't want to get rid of him, then at least open another bank account in secret. Because I promise he won't respect your savings or you. He dares to call you selfish when he isn't contributing at all. Cigarettes aren't a necessity when you're saving to make sure you always have something to fall back on in an emergency. As for your family, if they are already shunning you, then what's a bit more shunning? They'd rather you stay with someone financially abusing you than be a single mother. Disgusting. So, I am more or less a hobby cook and I am originally from Europe. As a result, I cook a lot of food from my home countries. Mom is Greek, dad is Austrian, and I try new stuff quite often. As an example, I worked at a Korean restaurant in the past, and the owner taught me recipes, and I frequent cooking sites and own a crapton of cookbooks, etc. As a result, I like to try a lot of different foods and try a lot of different tastes: spicy, sweet, sour, etc. My girlfriend, on the other hand, only really eats local food or fast food, which is fine by me. The issue is she wants and likes me to cook her food, which I did for a good while, but she basically likes nothing and tries nothing new, which results in me having to cook bland stuff and trying nothing new unless I cook myself different food on top of cooking her food, which is not an option because I work full-time. Now I also got a bunch of new friends and I have taken up inviting them over to cook for them twice a month or so I can try my hand at new stuff, and having them enjoy my cooking makes me happy. Well, of course my girlfriend is generally there too, and where everyone likes it most of the time, she pretty much takes half a bite and orders takeout later in the evening. So I stopped cooking for her and now just make my own food and let her make whatever she wants, which is pissing her off as she can't cook, so complains about having to get takeout or getting tired of just eating mac and cheese and such, whereas previously I would cook full meals for the both of us. Now I tried to meet her in the middle and make extra of what I am having, but she rarely eats it unless it is something like a burger. I made a spicy stir fry yesterday and she would not even try it, leaving me with a heap of leftovers. Luckily my neighbor likes my cooking. Thing is, I am done meeting in the middle, and I don't get why she is mad about it anyways, since she won't eat what I cook anyways, unless it is tailored to her tastes. But she is adamant about being angry, as she says I should make stuff we both enjoy. Now I would be fine with that if it was not for the fact she is the pickiest eater ever. So, am I just being an idiot here? Not the idiot. I don't want to be the red flag guy, but food, and your relationship to it, is a relatively important part of a relationship. It seems like you have fundamentally different attitudes as to your diets. That's fine in and of itself, but her entitlement is super crappy. You've tried to compromise, and she hasn't. She can eat what you make something herself, buy food for herself, etc. But chaining you to a world of chicken nuggets and plain hamburgers is not a reasonable option, fellow foodie here. Not the idiot. You tried meeting in the middle, it didn't work, and that's it. It's natural to get fed up with someone not appreciating the effort you put into something. I suggest you should both talk it through properly. This really shouldn't be an issue worth fighting over. She should try to broaden her horizons by trying new stuff and definitely learn to cook the stuff she loves. It's not that hard. Maybe you could even teach her. Then you'd even be spending quality time together trying to solve the issue. You're not a personal cook, so her attitude comes across as silly to me. Good luck either way, mate. Not the idiot. Picky eaters annoy the hell out of me. Little kids are one thing, but grown adults should have the maturity to branch out and try new things. Yes, people like what they like, and that is perfectly fine, but people like the girlfriend who claim they don't like something they haven't even tried. Get the hell out. My husband pulled this crap on me with hibachi. Was adamant he didn't like it. Same with my dad. I absolutely love hibachi and picked it for my birthday dinner last year. Husband and dad begrudgingly agreed because it was my birthday. They both scarfed it right down. Neither one had ever even had it before.